Hello everyone and welcome back. With Jurassic World Evolution 2 having been released over a year ago, I thought it'd be relatively valid to release a video sort of discussing some of the problems that even 1 year on we still have. And albeit it's, a much better game in comparison now to what it was when it did first launch, there's been plenty of bug fixes, content additions, but again, 1 year on, there's still plenty of issues that there's a need to highlight. And 5 particular ones in which I want to discuss in today's video. So if you do go on to enjoy today's video, please do consider liking and subscribing. If we can try and hit 25 likes on today's video, then I'd be relatively happy, and who knows, might push this video out and some of these issues might actually get resolved. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time and enjoy the video. Now, before I actually get into any of the issues, I do just want to briefly mention that a lot of these issues aren't so much bugs as they are sort of continuity issues or just general problems I have with the game. And a lot of these issues I have mentioned quite frequently in the past, but I still feel like I didn't give them sort of that clarity that they really needed on the channel. And, again, that potential to actually reach Frontier, so, again, it does get resolved. So, with that being said, the first issue I have with Jurassic World Evolution 2 is dinosaur sizes, or more specifically the T-Rex. Now, funnily enough, this issue was something that we also had at the beginning of Jurassic World Evolution, where I believe the T-Rex was like 1 or 2 meters bigger than what it's actually supposed to be canonically. And, that did actually get resolved relatively quickly into Jurassic World Evolution's life cycle. So the question does beckon, why did they sort of revert back to the original size for Jurassic World Evolution 2? We know that the majority of the models used for Jurassic World Evolution 2 were literally just copy and pasted from Jurassic World Evolution. So you'd think that there's no real reason why they deliberately change it. And to be honest with you, there really isn't. I mean, all I can really think of is they wanted to make the T-Rex feel like the apex predator that the franchise has made it out to be. And of course, if it were 2 meters smaller than your Giganotosaurus, perhaps it wouldn't feel as big and dominant. But literally, other than that, there is no reason why they'd, go back to the original wrong size that it did have at the start of Jurassic World Evolution. So hopefully, in the off chance that a Frontier worker does see this, please just change the T-Rex size. It drives my OCD mad. More really because I know it's not right, as opposed to looking at it and be like, whoa, that's not the right 13.5 meters it's supposed to be. It's just something that bugs me quite frequently for literally no good reason. But if it does happen to get changed, then I would be very satisfied. Moving on to my second issue, if you've seen this video and have been a long time watcher of the channel, then I can probably bet money you'll know what I'm about to say, but my second issue is Lagoons. Now, I don't want to spend too long waffling about them because I've probably got at least 20 videos on the channel discussing my problems with Lagoons, but more or less, just to put a pretty basic emphasis on it, Lagoons are dull, empty, and bring literally no life, and the only way that you can really bring them to life is through modding, and unfortunately I'm a console player, so there is literally no way, shape or form that I can, make my Lagoons feel like actual enclosures that you'd see at per se SeaWorld. And it's almost as if Frontier have done this on purpose just to annoy the community, because funnily enough, when you load up Jurassic World Evolution 2, you can see a Mosasaurus cruising through seaweed, but we don't have placeable seaweed in Jurassic World Evolution 2, let alone animations for our marine creatures that can sort of make them cruise through seaweed. So, it's just a bit stupid to really put that as the first thing you see when you load up the game. It's almost as if it's to give us a false sense of excitement for something that there should be, but just blatantly isn't. And in terms of fixing this, again, you can probably guess, just add decorations. It's such a simple task. Add better lighting. Literally, those 2 things would be such a big improvement for the game that I could make so many better enclosures and actually make speed builds of lagoon enclosures, which is something that I've been anticipating doing since the game got announced. But again, I'm really trying to hold back on waffling about Lagoons because, again, I've gone on about it so much on the channel that it's probably making you want to click off the video. But anyway, my third issue with Jurassic World Evolution 2 is guests, and more specifically how sort of plastic they feel. It's always really baffled me, even in Jurassic World Evolution, how, plastic these guests actually are. Because, you look at other Frontier projects like Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo, and the guests actually interact with your animals and can unsurprisingly see them through an invisible fence, which in Jurassic World Evolution 2 they actually can't, which, you know, is a bit weird. But let Frontier do their thing, I guess. And again, continuity issue. George Lambert always makes jokes about how our guests are wearing collector t-shirts, yet they're always wearing the same basic clothes, you know. It'd be so much more like details as small as a guest goes into a clothes shop and comes out in that collector's t-shirt would just make the game feel like that inch more realistic. And, you know, again, small details and fixes like that just make all the difference when it comes to like cinematics and stuff like that. Like, it's actually sad that the only way that guests actually feel alive is when they sue you when you're playing campaign. And it's, again, something that not many people really notice in-game, because obviously your focus would be building a park. But, you know, I just feel like if they did give them a little bit more of a highlight, then people would notice them and actually sort of, well, not so much do stuff with them, but build amenities that look nice. I don't really focus on amenities in my park builds, because if they don't really serve a purpose, you know, I'm not making money. They are literally just there for looks. But anyway, swiftly moving on to my second to last pick. Speaking of amenities, I actually want to mention the lack of amenities in Jurassic World Evolution 2. And it's again that recurring theme of our parks not really being able to feel alive. And, you know, it's something I've literally mentioned last video that I really struggle with in the game is making diverse and different park builds for you lot. Like, I have to use the same basic design set, morally, because there's not anything that can really diversify that. I mean, it's honestly a bit weird that there's nothing else like in the background, considering that there's attractions in the films like the Cretaceous Cruise and even Camp Cretaceous, stuff like the zipline. It's all there, it's all canon. I just don't see why they don't put it in. And this is stuff that really should have been there from day one, and it's annoyingly going to cost us even more money. And it's just not really fair on us, the community, that we have to pay this much for basic stuff that should be in the game anyway. It took Frontier 2 weeks to add the Dominion Biosyn trees to the Dominion Biosyn set because they, I don't know, stretched their time limit. I'm not too sure, but, you know, it's just a lack of awareness, laziness. I don't really know what the exact problem is, but there's something going on, and it's really affecting my parks. So, Frontier, for the love of God, please just add attractions, add that Cretaceous Cruise, add that zipline. Add stuff that can make my parks look like, you know, parks. And that does bring me down to my final issue, which is an actual sort of issue slash bug, and that is actually literally just the amount of bugs that's still in the game. And, you know, fair enough, I'll give Frontier their credit. It is a very much polished game, but there's bugs that have been there since patch 1 right through to whatever patch we're on now, patch 12 I believe. And, you know, there's still these same bugs that are there. I've had multiple parks of mine ruined, quite literally down to my dinosaurs getting stuck in their hatcheries. And this is something that I see on the JWE Reddit all the time, where dinosaurs get stuck in their hatcheries and you can't delete that hatchery, and it does actually ruin, or can go on to ruin, your entire park, because, you know, you can't use that hatchery because the dinosaurs still are stuck in the hatching animation. And there's no real fix for this that can't be done through, like, I don't want to say jailbreaking, but, you know, there's nothing we can really do to help it through modding or anything like that, because we're on Xbox and consoles, and, you know, we're just so restricted with what we can actually do in the game that it's very frustrating. However, that does just about wrap up today's video. If you have enjoyed, again, let's try and that 25 likes. Your support does mean an awful lot to me. And let me know down in the comments some issues you have with Jurassic World Evolution 2. And that's been me. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.